How's it going? Glad you stopped by. I know it's not Thursday, but well, technically it is Thursday. It's a late Thursday, so you're probably not going to see this till tomorrow, which is Friday, and I apologize. It has just been crazy busy and kind of hectic. You know, long story short, extra days at the pizza shop. We've been actually really very steady in our bakery with our bakery cookies for days, you know, and getting videos done has been kind of a challenge. I mean, you saw yesterday's video came out today, and this video will come out tomorrow. I'm still going to try to squeeze in the garden update and canning if I can, because I've got to get chili beans done, and I want to show you guys how to do it. I was going through my canning videos and realized I don't have one for chili beans. Because not only does that benefit you guys, but let's say you know, down the road my great grandkids want to get to know me and I'm no longer around, even though I hope to be turned into a vampire and live thousands of years, but let's just say for sake of argument I'm no longer around. They'll have the ability to A, get to know me, B, learn how to be productive, right? So, and then that's very important to me that this stuff gets passed on. You know, and even if you guys would be so inclined to pass it on to your kids, your great grandkids, your whatever. That way people are still aware of how to do the things we do, right? I think we're losing that a little, but anyhow, I'm getting sidetracked. So tonight we are going to attempt something I have been talking about now for like the last 2 months that I have been working on, and the crust was my sole hindrance because I didn't want to do a normal crust. It's a cheesecake. It is a maple syrup and bacon, candied bacon cheesecake. And we're going to attempt a waffle crust with real waffles. I made them this morning, along with all the cookies and the candied bacon. And there was something else, chocolate covered strawberries we did today. And it might have been it, I think, for today, because I still have 48 cupcakes to do. But I can't do this quite yet. I gotta do this a little closer to when they're due. But anyhow, if you're new to the channel and this is your first video, welcome. I hope you get something out of this video. If you're returning or a new subscriber, welcome back and thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. That helps grow our neighborhood. And comments are always welcomed. I never, ever do I not respond to a comment unless it just doesn't show up. You know, there are like 5 different places to look for comments on my end, and I try to hit all of them. Most of the time my phone alerts me, but I am really good about responding. I think that's important. If you take the time to comment, I should take the time to respond, right? I think all YouTubers should be like that. I will give you all your measurements and grams and milliliters, along with cups, tablespoons, teaspoons. That way, no matter where you're at, you can play along, right? And if you guys ever hear of a third option of measurement, let me know. That has to do with baking. There are lots of other measurements, but anyhow. With the comments, all I ask is you be kind and considerate. You know, it's okay to disagree, just think before you type. So anyhow, that being said, why don't we head on down to the counter, because we got a crust to make, then a filling to make, and we got to get her in the oven, and you know the routine. So that being said, let's hop on down here and get started on this. Hold on for me just 1 second. All right, we are at the counter, and things we will need for this. We are going to need a 9-inch pan, springform. That means that it has that latch right there, and it separates into 2 pieces. They do make a couple different kinds. One, the bottom goes into the springform and then you lock it down. This one, the lip comes up and it's supposed to be leak proof. Now, they may start out leak proof, but they don't stay that way. They're not bad though, not bad. We're gonna wrap that in foil here after a little bit. You're gonna need a pan to put it in, because we're gonna water bath, and but we're not gonna actually set the pan in the water bath pan. We're going to put the water bath pan below it, but we'll discuss that here in a little bit. I'm using a food processor. You could just as easily use a Ziploc bag and a mallet, a meat mallet or a hammer or a rolling pin or whatever to achieve the same thing we're about to achieve. And then some form of mixer, whether it be a hand mixer, a stand mixer. I wouldn't recommend trying to use old hand power. That you'd be a minute getting tired. But that's pretty much all you'll need. Some aluminum foil plus the ingredients for the recipe. So in my food processor, I have 2 1/4 8-inch waffles that I had, and it's 191 grams worth of waffle. And what I did was I made waffles this morning at the waffle maker, and then when they were done, I let them completely cool down to room temperature, right? And then I took them, and while I was making the candied bacon, I put them in the oven and on the bottom rack, without on a pan or anything, just on the rack itself on the bottom, and let them go about 10 minutes in the oven with the candied bacon. And that served 2 purposes. It completely dried them out, and which is kind of what I wanted. Because if you think about it, every cheesecake that at least every one I've ever made, no matter what the base is, it's something that's dry. It's not moist, it's not light, it's not fluffy. It's dry, like a cookie or a cracker, or and you add butter. So I went ahead and dried out my waffles in the oven, and by setting them on the lower rack while the bacon was cooking at 350, it didn't burn them or cook them anymore, but it did dry them out. I kept an eye on them, took about 10 minutes. And then I just broke them up into fine enough pieces to get them into the food processor, where now we are going to process these down to like granules of sand. Okay, we got this processed. I'll show you what they look like now. Just so you know, I've never made this crust before, not ever. I didn't even do a practice run on it. But there's where we're at right there. And they are still a little moist. They didn't dry out quite as much as I wanted them to, but that's all right. That's all right. That might actually work in our favor. So now I'm gonna put them in a pan, or in a bowl, just like such. And the reason why I say that might work in our favor is we're gonna add butter to this. With it being moist, it may not, it may help with soaking up the butter versus it being dry, and it kind of, but we'll see. We'll see. Who knows? The rest of the cheesecake I'm sure of. It's the crust that is eluding me. But anyhow, let me go grab a glove real quick, and that way we can get this butter in here. Hold on for me. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So we've got our ground up waffle in here. So the next thing we're gonna need is 7 tablespoons of butter, and it's melted, right? It's not solid butter. And we're gonna put this in with our waffles, providing we don't drop it on the floor. Get that in there. And then of course you can use a spoon to mix this up with. I just prefer my hand. You could even just put this butter in the food processor, and it would have done the exact same thing. Or if you're using a bag and a rolling pin, shake it up. I just prefer to use my hand. That way I can kind of get a feel for what's going on. And I use a glove so that way I don't get butter all over my hands. I wash my hands so much between managing the pizza shop, working in the pizza shop, and here, that I have like the world's driest hands. I bet you that I go through a big bottle of lotion every week just to keep my hands from bleeding. But so we got that in there, and we know we're good because it holds together, right? I can squeeze it, nothing's coming out of it, and it's holding together. That's what we want. We have preheated our oven to 350 degrees because we are going to put this in the oven just like any other cheesecake. So let me go ahead and get our pan. Voila, pan. We're going to take our waffle crust, and now you could probably use, like, I'm sure they still make a cereal that is like little waffles. I know Eggo used to make one like a long time ago, and so did a couple of off-brand companies, but I don't know if they still make them. It's been so long since I bought boxed cereal, so I don't know. But we're gonna go ahead and get this smashed down. Okay, I got this smashed down, and that butter was 7 tablespoons or 98 grams of unsalted butter, along with 191 grams or 2 3/4 waffles, or 2 1/4 waffles of the 8-inch variety. That's what my waffle maker is. It's an 8-inch waffle maker. And I thought about doing these whole and just cutting it down the middle and putting a piece in the center, but in the indents they actually had holes in them, and I didn't want the cheesecake to bleed through. So we've got our crust in the bottom of this. Oven's at 350. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the oven for 5 to 10 minutes. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. When it starts to turn brown is when I'll pull it out. So if it starts to do that before the 10 minutes is up, we'll go ahead and pull it out. And when I come back, we'll take a look at this, let it cool, and start making our filling. All right, hold on for me just 1 second. Okay, so we went 10 minutes, and I went ahead and I pulled it out of the oven for us. And there we are, right there, right? And I looked for a couple of things. I can see a little bit of golden brown around the edge, which tells me the crust on the outside is good. And then I just went ahead and kind of felt it. You know, it's nice and crisp on the top, so we're in good shape, right? It's firm, it's crisp. So now all we have to do is just let that bad boy cool. I turned my oven down to 300 degrees, because that's where we're going to bake our cheesecake on. And I'm going to go ahead and take this pan that I've got water in, and I'm going to put it on the bottom shelf. That way, bottom rack. And that way it can start heating up to 300 degrees and start getting some steam going in here. So we got that in there. So now we can move on to making our filling, right? Get this water cleaned up real quick. Making a mess everywhere. All right, so like I said, I'm using my stand mixer with paddle attachment. Cheesecakes, for the most part, there are exceptions. You always want to use the paddle attachment because you want to go slow. You don't want to put a lot of air into it. It's a dense cake. You know, you want, for the most part, you want it dense. I mean, you may want to try light and fluffy, but most cheesecakes are dense. And we have a few, though, in our wheelhouse that are not dense. They are fluffy. So, first thing we need to add to our mixer is 4 blocks, 2 pounds, or wait, 908 grams of cream cheese. We'll throw that in there, and we're also going to add 1 cup, 200 grams of just plain old granulated sugar. With the cream cheese, much like butter, when you leave it out to sit for room temperature or soften, you put some plastic wrap over the top of it. If not, cream cheese has a tendency to get a skin on it, and so does butter. They will get this like light skin on it, and with cream cheese, that doesn't seem to go away. I mean, it'll bake out, but it really just little chips of cream cheese. It makes me nuts personally, so I always just wrap mine if it's going to be out longer than like 10 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix this, you know, on a medium speed for about 3 to 5 minutes until it's nice and creamy and the sugar is combined with the cream cheese. Alright, we are nice and creamy, about 3 minutes. The warmer your cream cheese is, the less time you have to spend mixing it too. Although at this point, since we haven't added the eggs, you can mix this thing on, you know, as long as you want. It's not going to hurt anything. It's when you add the eggs you don't want to over mix. The eggs will start to fluff a little, and inevitably if you over mix, and you won't get a proper consistency in your cheesecake. So we'll go ahead and get everything scraped down real quick and check for chunks. You know, make sure we don't have any chunks in there. Scraping down is always important, you know, especially with cheesecakes, because if you don't and you don't check, you're going to end up with a big chunk in there, and somebody's going to end up with a big chunk of cream cheese and not cheesecake. And then you'll be like, oh, well, you know, but you know. Alright, we're in good shape. I don't see any sugar sitting at the bottom. I don't see any big chunks of cream cheese. So we're going to get the spatula wiped off. And then we are going to incorporate some flour into this to help give it a little stability. So I've got 3 tablespoons, 28 grams of just some regular old all-purpose flour, and we'll go ahead and get that in there. And we're just going to mix this until it's combined. Yeah, not anything, you know, we don't have to sit here and mix it for hours, just about a minute or so. All right, we got that good to go. So once again, we'll scrape. All right, got that scraped good. Set that back down. Now we are about to add all our flavor. So I have a half a cup, 125 milliliters of maple syrup. I'm gonna put that in there. I know, that's a lot of syrup. And then to that, we are going to add 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of vanilla, baking vanilla. And then we are going to add a half a teaspoon, half a gram of maple extract. And it's not maple syrup extract, it's just maple extract before it's refined. So it's going to give you that maple flavor, but it'll help balance. It helps balance the sweetness of the maple syrup that we put in there, and it does not take much. Maple extract is quite potent. So we are going to go ahead and get this all mixed in until everything's incorporated really well, mixed in real good. Okay, so we've got everything mixed in real good. I'm not even going to shut off my blender. I've got 3 large eggs at 50 grams a piece. It's 150 grams worth of egg. And we're going to go ahead and put those in one at a time, and we're just going to wait for the first one to completely disappear, and then we'll add the next. Okay, we've got our eggs in there, so we're going to go ahead and shut her off and give her a quick scrape. We literally only have one more ingredient to put in here before we go to the oven. But that way we can make sure the egg is all, you know, we don't have any streaks or anything like that. All right, so the last thing we need to add to this, as soon as I get my spatula cleaned off a little bit here, we're actually done with the paddle attachment, so I'm going to set it aside, is some candied bacon. Now, if you guys would like, just let me know down in the comments. I will show you how to make the candied bacon. All I did was I took 4 pieces after I made it and chopped it up. And it was really kind of neat to do. It wasn't hard, but it was kind of neat to do. And if you guys want to see how it's done, let me know, and I'll do a video on it, along with the waffles. I can, you know, neither video would take long. And the waffles it's a really good recipe. We've been using it for quite a long time. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get the bacon in here, and I'm not gonna use the paddle attachment to stir it in with, and this is just 4 strips of candied bacon, or you can buy candied bacon, I think. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you can. It's just 4 ingredients, you know, and a lot of oven time. Well, not a lot of oven time, but a fair amount. So we're gonna go ahead and get that stirred in. We're just gonna stir it in with the spatula. Just like such. And then as soon as I get that stirred in, I'm gonna go ahead and get this all cleaned up, and we can get it into our pan. All right, got everything straightened up. We got our pan here with our crust in it. Now we're just gonna go ahead and get this poured in here. All right, we got our batter in there. So now we just gotta level it out, make it even, is our next step. You know, and you can use an offset spatula, or you can just use the spatula you've been using the whole time. At least that's what I'm doing. This will give you the opportunity to move some of that bacon around a little bit too. I had it clumped all right there in the corner. Okay, so we've got our cheesecake smoothed out in the pan. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna drop it a couple times. Just pick it up and, you know, maybe not body slam it, but, you know, drop it. That way we can make sure if there's air bubbles in there, trapped in there, you'll see them come to the top. And I don't see, but yeah, I don't see any, which means we're rocking. That's good. So let me go ahead and get this in the oven real quick, and we'll talk about how long to bake it for. Okay, so we are gonna bake this for an hour and 10 minutes. Just like any other cheesecake we've done, and when the hour's up, I'll open up the door, I'll grab the rack, not necessarily the actual cheesecake, and I'm gonna shake it a little bit. And most of it should be solid, but the center of it should be jiggly. All right, you know, not kind of like Jello jiggly, not like liquid jiggly. If it's liquid jiggly, even if it's just like, you know, skim coated on the top, but you can see the liquid like shimmering underneath of it, it's not done yet. So I'll check it at an hour, but I'm gonna say 60 to 70 minutes. But like I said, firm set all the way to the center, about 3 to 4 inches in, it should be set, and the center should be just slightly jiggly, real close to Jello. So I'll see you when I come back and we'll take a look at it. All right, hold on for me 1 second. Okay, so our timer just went off and we ended up going 65 minutes, and I'll show you what I was talking about as far as what to look for on that. Sorry, I'm not a very good cameraman, but what we wanted to look for, if I can get down in here, I'm gonna grab the rack, not the cake, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but see how it's just barely wiggling in the middle? That's kind of what we're looking for, and it's solid on the sides. So now what we're gonna do is have you stare at the napkins for a second, or paper towels for a second. Get you back up here nice and gentle. So now what we're gonna do is as follows. I'm gonna leave this door cracked, but not completely. I'm going to put my spatula in there, so that way it's cracked a little bit, and then I'm gonna set my timer. I'm gonna start my timer for 30 minutes. So it'll sit in there for 30 minutes and it's gonna cool down slowly. You want cheesecake to keep it from cracking, although in most cases, at least in my cases, we top it with something and you don't actually see the top, but this keeps it from cracking. The biggest cause of cracking in a cheesecake is usually either overbeating the eggs or letting it cool down too quickly. So we'll do 30 minutes here. Once that 30 minutes is up, I'll bring it out and I'll set it on this rack. It's going to cool down out here for about an hour until it's at room temperature. Then I will put some saran wrap on it and stick it in the fridge for 6 to 8 hours, or overnight. 8 hours is overnight, so that's best practice. So when I come back, I will have done those 2 steps, cooled down to room temperature, covered, put in the fridge for 8 hours, and we'll do some quick decorating on the top and try a slice. All right, I'll see you here in just a second. Okay, so cheesecake has done all its cooling down. There we are, right there. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but I mean, it's got a little crack right there. And I've got a way to fix that. I can show it to you here in a minute, but let's go ahead and get our icing, or our whipped topping made. So this is going to be a really cool whipped topping, but and that I think you'll enjoy a lot. It's basically just our standard whipped topping with maple syrup added to it, but it just sounds absolutely amazing. The only thing I had to look up was how much maple syrup to put in it. So, and it doesn't take a lot. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. So the first thing we need to put in here is in our bowl. Now, if you're new to making whipped topping, I had this in the freezer for like 20 minutes, the bowl and the whisk both. You want everything as cold as possible. So my creamer has been in the fridge up until just a second ago. We're gonna put it in, right? And that's 1 cup, 250 milliliters worth of heavy cream. And then we're gonna follow that up with half a teaspoon, 2 grams of vanilla. And that's the baker's vanilla still. And then I've got 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Go ahead and throw that in there. And then the last ingredient is going to be a 1/4 teaspoon, 1 gram of cream of tartar. I use cream of tartar in all my whipped toppings. It acts as a stabilizer. It won't let you over whip, because you could easily turn this into butter, which would be cool because it's got maple syrup in it. But you can also, it stabilizes the whipped topping. It makes it good for about a week. So I'm gonna start this off on about a medium, and then as soon as I start getting soft peaks, once it starts to turn to whipped topping, I'll turn it up to high and get it up to stiff peaks. Okay, so we are at stiff peak, and I will do my best to show you what stiff peak is. I am horrible at showing this, or doing this little trick with the, here, do it this way. But basically you should be able to take your whipped topping and it should stand straight up like that. Yeah, sorry, looking at my monitor to make sure I was seeing what you guys were saying. But that's what it should look like. It should stand straight up. It shouldn't flop over, anything like that. And then there's inside our bowl right there, right? And then you always want to give it a taste test. Now you didn't notice, well, I mean, you may, if you've never seen me make whipped topping before, you wouldn't know. But I didn't put any sugar in it. Perfect. Let me go ahead and get this stuff out of the way. I didn't put any sugar in it because of the maple syrup. Yeah, that's probably more than enough sugar. But let me get this all straightened up real quick. We'll go ahead and get this cheesecake decorated and try a piece. Hold on for me 1 second. Okay, so we got everything cleaned up. And I want to show you real quick with the cheesecake, those little cracks. And this was actually a really big crack that I've already fixed, but I didn't fix it all the way because I wanted to show you. So I've got my offset spatula and I'm just sticking it in a cup of hot water, right? I want to get it warmed up. And then all you have to do to dry it off so you don't get the water on there is just simply go over the cracks with your knife being hot, your spatula being hot. You could also use just a regular old butter knife. It will melt not melt, but it'll warm up the cream cheese enough, the cheesecake enough, that it'll actually make the cracks disappear. So you can just go over them like such, and your cracks will disappear. And this is something I learned all on my own. And remember, the difference between being a professional and not being a professional isn't always professionals make mistakes. I mean, I consider myself a professional restaurant manager, and because I've been doing it for almost 30 years, but I still make mistakes. I still do things wrong on occasion. But that's how you fix those, if that's something you want to do. It may be a cheesecake that we're covering up, which in this case, I mean, we're going to be covering it up with toppings, so you won't necessarily see the cracks. But if you wanted to fix your cracks, that's how you would do it. Right, so moving forward, I have put my whipped topping in a piping bag, and I just use a giant cup to put it in with. Back you up here a little bit so you can see a little better. There we go. I just use it. It makes it easier to put it into. Okay, so we got our piping bag scraped in, and I'm using, I don't know what that tip's called. It's like a flower tip, and it's a. I'll have to leave it right here. So I don't even remember what number it is. I know it's not a Wilton's, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and just pipe some little dollops on here. Okay, we got our whipped topping piped on there. So the last couple of things I want to put on here, I've got some more candied bacon chopped up, and we're just gonna sprinkle that on the top. That stuff is so sticky. But it tastes so good. I'm not gonna lie. This is like a fat person's dream come true, because I know it's like my dream come true, and I am no skinny mini by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but yeah. I am not skinny. Okay, got the yeah, those things on there. The candied bacon in the center. Now, the last thing I'm going to put on here is I've got some roasted pecans that I'm just going to sprinkle on there because I think that would turn out to be just fabulous. Myself, I think these are pecans. Yeah, they're pecans. Hoping they weren't walnuts. I have a whole shelf of nothing but nuts in a jar. And sometimes you get a little confused. Yep, pecans. And that, my friends, is what we will call complete. Right there. I think that looks absolutely stunning myself. So give me 1 second, let me get things straightened up here a little bit. We'll go ahead and cut us a piece and give it a try. I'm so excited. Hold on for me 1 second. So we are now down to the grand finale. Let's see how it goes. I'm excited because of this crust mostly. Yeah, I can't tell you, when I took it off the pan, I did not lose any of the bottom, which tells me that it stayed firm all the way through. You know, even when we took it out of the oven and out of the water bath, or out of the oven, nothing had melted. It was nice. And the beauty of keeping your water bath below your cheesecake is that you don't have to worry about it seeping into your cheesecake. Yeah, which is always nice. Grab my official cake spatula thingy. Get up underneath there. Now, one thing you can do if you go to serve this is let it sit out for about 10 minutes prior to you serving it. Because what happens is the crust, and this goes for any cheesecake, has a tendency to be really, really firm and hard to cut through if you don't let it sit out first. But that, my friends, is beautiful. I mean, just beautiful. So now all we have to do is give it a try. All right, let's give it a try. I'm so nervous. Yeah, I have been thinking of this for months now, but here, you try the first piece. I'm too nervous. Yeah, just kidding. I'll try the first piece. I wish you were here really to eat with me, because I think this would be good to eat together. That. Oh. I think I just found my new favorite breakfast. The crust is great. I can taste the waffle. I can taste the maple syrup and the bacon. And the whipped topping. Yeah. My friends, that is crazy good. If you like waffles and bacon, and who doesn't like waffles and bacon, you've got to do this. I mean, now I'm sure substitution wise you could probably use frozen waffles, and do the same thing. That way you don't have to make them. Or, I was thinking about this last night, you can make up waffle batter and almost make up pancakes if you don't have a waffle maker. Or like I said, buy frozen waffles. But it really tastes like you're just eating waffles and bacon with some maple syrup. It tastes like breakfast. It tastes like love. It tastes like everything I hoped it would. You have to give this a try. That cheesecake is super smooth and creamy, and I can't talk enough about the flavors because that's incredible. Make this if you get the opportunity to. You're gonna love it. Your family's gonna love it. Your friends are gonna go, holy cow, that is the most amazing thing I've ever eaten in my life. They're really gonna like it. Spot on. Yeah, let me know if you do make this. Leave me a comment down below over on Facebook. Although I will say, as of late, I have not been on Facebook a whole lot. I think I said that in yesterday's video. Mostly because I'm not really social media excited, so to speak. I'm not on it all the time anyhow, but lately we've been so busy that I've not had time and to be on there a whole lot. But go ahead and leave a comment. Chris is on there, you know, almost every day, so she'll catch comments if they're new. I am going to try to get a canning and gardening video in this weekend. I will try my best. If not, the gardening video will definitely pop up probably by Tuesday. And the canning video I should for sure be doing. I'm down to only needing to make 48 cupcakes for this weekend. So, and that won't take me long, I don't think. So we should be in pretty good shape. But anyhow, if we do get around to canning, it'll be chili beans. If we don't, which I'm sure we will, if not, I will see you next Wednesday for dinner, guaranteed. Dinner and dessert are almost always a guarantee every week. So till either tomorrow or next week for garden update. I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and love them very much. It's going to make them feel good, and it may be a day where they need to hear it. It's going to make you feel good. You're both going to smile, you know, when you say it, and that's important. If you make them some of this bacon maple syrup cheesecake, I guarantee they're going to know that you love them. It's going to lead to hours of conversation, potentially, you know, even a good cup of coffee to go with it, and a good afternoon or evening or morning for breakfast. So till next video, at any rate, I love you, and I'll see you then. All right, see you later. Bye bye.